out of cinema reaction of 28 years later. What did you think, Rachel?
I'm still waiting for you to talk.
What did you think, Kieran?
I thought it was like a mother and son film rather than a zombie film or an infected film. It felt like it's like a bonding film.
I'm trying to digest it.
I'm still digesting it. I don't think it was horrendous.
I don't want to say spoilers at first in case.
Are we doing spoiler free?
I'll maybe do spoilers at the end for give a warning. It was a weird film. I've seen people say it, and I thought halfway through I'm like, I can see why people were saying it's a weird film,
especially at the end.
And it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel the same as 28 Days or Weeks Later at all. It feels like a completely different movie.
It's got a different vibe to it.
And
some interesting story choices.
There's positive stuff, there is, but there is some strange choices which I don't fully get my head around yet. But I got vibes of Marion Dora in places, like Cannibal Holocaust nods. There's a scene literally lifted from Peter Jackson's Brain Dead, which I won't completely talk about because it's a bit of a spoiler, but it literally felt like I was watching Brain Dead at one point. There's like so much madness in there, and I can't believe it's a 15 because it's actually really bad.
It was really violent.
I mean, I felt like it was the rage virus beats Predator.
Horrific parts.
There's what?
Some gory parts.
Yeah, it's very violent.
Wow.
And very graphic.
Yep.
I liked some of the cinematography as well. There was some funky stuff. I could actually tell in places it was shot on an iPhone.
Yeah.
I could actually... No, but like on the trailer it looks good, and you know, like Tangerine shot on an iPhone looks good, but I generally saw shots in that where I'm like, yeah, I could really see it was an iPhone. It was like recording that.
Yeah.
Which, again, it was an interesting choice to do that. It does kind of fit with the fact that the 28 Days was shot on an XL1 and 28 Weeks was shot on a Z1. It's like the progression of that sort of style and camera, and it did give it a little bit of a gritty, raw feel in places, and it kind of worked.
Was it necessary though?
Well, it made it easy to move the camera and get some of those shots, and it was...
There were some tight spaces.
Do you know what? I actually think the editing and the cinematography was a bit better than the previous two 28 films, to be honest, because I think they're a little bit fast-paced and too fast-cut and a bit chaotic in places, the first two. This one actually was better for that. But I do feel like the other two films are better. I think the first one is a lot better.
I think it's amazing. But I think this film would be amazing for a Walking Dead thing. Like, if they made a feature length film of like Walking Dead, this film would be perfect.
I found it very tense in places. There was a lot of build-up.
It was like one sort of tense scene.
There was some anxiety-inducing bits. It's quite dramatic.
I mean, the first quarter, I thought it was an art house film. The way it was edited and
really
playing out,
quirky.
it was like a really weird art installation piece at places. I wondered where they were going.
I didn't dislike that though. I thought it was quite interesting.
It was interesting. Part of me thinks it was interesting. Part of me feels like it was a bit out of place as well. It's because then it shifted. It lost that. Like I always say, if you're going to do something, you like commit to that style. But then the film drifted away from that style as it went on. So like it started off that way, and then it kind of forgot it was that.
I kind of feel like that was a bit on purpose.
It might be worth another viewing for me.
I did feel like there was a lot of subliminal stuff going on in there.
There was a lot,
especially with the boy in it, and the way he kept saying everyone's lying, and he wanted to figure things out for himself because no one was actually dealing with anything.
I think they're afraid to tell him the truth in case he gets...
Which to me, it doesn't make sense because they're literally in a world where survival is key, but they're also trying to normalize, like be normal
But
in a world that's no longer normal.
Is in 28 weeks later, you had those two kids who had you know, they were immune to age.
Yeah, but they didn't get very far, did they?
But didn't they survive that?
No. The end. Do you remember the end of the film? The helicopter's like all beaten up, and the virus is
Got about.
kicked off again.
There was a lot going on in 28 Years Later, but I do feel like it was a little bit of a mess as well. It was a bit of a mess of a film. I don't think it was like slick. I think it was
Why do
quite
you think
messy.
it's a mess?
I think there's a lot going on. There's a lot of ideas. There's a lot of stuff it wants to say, and it is quite chaotic. There's a lot, you know. It's like a mishmash of films and subgenres in a way. I don't dislike it. Don't get me wrong. I did enjoy it, but it wasn't completely what I expected. So, I kind of recommend it if you're into
I liked it.
indie horror, maybe even if you're into a little bit of extreme horror, because I'll tell you, I literally got Marindora vibes and Cannibal Holocaust vibes throughout that film.
I'd noticed there was a few people commenting that the music doesn't match the film, and I actually disagree. I think the music was really clever.
There's some parts where it didn't.
That's where
match the
I got
film.
Marindora vibes.
So I don't really want to go into spoilers, but I'll wrap it up by saying I thought the ending was ridiculous and it didn't work and didn't fit,
Yeah.
and it kind of almost spoiled it, and I can see why people are stressed, and
Ninja Teletubbies.
you know,
The ending.
spoilers, but
What a spoiler.
spoilers, like, so turn off now, but spoiler wise, like, you know, where the hell are they going with Jimmy Savile,
yeah.
Teletubby Ninjas, which is like, I was watching
Cult leader Jimmy.
I was watching a scene from Peter Jackson's Brain Dead where the priest was beating the zombies up in the graveyard. That's what that was. It was quite ridiculous, and I know it's not just me, because obviously the audience in the cinema just erupted, and I don't think that was a good reaction. I think
everyone burst out laughing.
you know, it's a serious film, apart from you sitting there giggling half the time because there's
Samson.
a lot of nudity. I wasn't expecting that much
what I said
penis on
was-
screen for that film, but then 28 days later it does have that, doesn't it?
What I said was that as soon as the big alpha appears on screen, my first thought was, whose fucking horse was that? Or whose horse was that?
And on that note, go and watch 28 Years Later.